I'm Susan Hedgepeth. I teach kindergarten at Summit, and I've been here 23 years. What makes Summit special is that when you come into the buildings, it's not pristine. It's full of energy and life, because that's what it is when children are working and adults are working with children.
There is a mindfulness and a joy in this community that comes out of a deep commitment to children, and I think that's unique.
I think that early childhood education is extremely important, and I think that Summit nails it. I think that sending kids to Summit is not only an investment in their future, I think it's an investment right now.
If you walked around this campus, there's not an adult on campus who wouldn't be able to tell you the mission of the school. Summit School provides a challenging curriculum and a caring environment to help students reach their full potential. And every word in that mission means something to these folks. And our agreement, our understanding is that if you're employed by Summit, you're an educator. So it doesn't matter if you work in the dining room for young children or you drive a bus here, you're an educator. You draw students out, you lift them up, and people take that seriously.
When you see teachers on campus, you feel engaged at all times. You don't feel like you're just sending your child someplace where they're going so that they can get straight A's or what have you.
By starting each day with an intentional community, you set a course for the rest of the day that we're all here together. And there are moments where we splinter off and do small groups and go places, but at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, we always come back together. And I think that Summit is a place that's built on the connection.
I explain to parents what we have experienced as a family, and then ask them to think about what they would like to do long term. I just invite them to explore the opportunity of letting their child grow as a child, and not just some academic machine.
One of the great things about Summit is creative freedom among faculty, and it's where a faculty member has a particular passion, they can pursue that. An example of that would be the robotics program, which we created in 2000. In the robotics lab, students come in at all grade levels. Once we get them kind of used to the room and how things work in the room, they're allowed to work at their own pace. So if they have a passion, they can pursue that, because it keeps every child involved and every child engaged.
Everything that we do incorporates our focus themes. And in 7th grade, for example, the focus is kindness, organization, and responsibility. And then it builds so that when they get to 8th grade, the kindness moves into empathy. And those are life skills.
I would say that this is the most intentional school I've ever been a part of. Things aren't random. For example, when you look at the layout of the campus, there's not a building on this campus that doesn't include really large windows. That's not an accident. We bring the outside world into these classrooms. Things are relevant to these children. And we bring the children to the outside.
I think a real distinguisher about Summit is to close the loop by reflecting on what we did. We talk, we learn, we do, and then we stand back and say, what does this mean and how does it all fit together? And I believe if we teach children that skill when they're 5, they'll be able to stop and reflect and think about what they're learning when they're 15.
So if someone were to ask me, why in the world would I be interested in sending my child to your school? I would respond with a question. And the question would be, what do you want for your child right now? What do you want for your child 5 years out, 10 years out? And what do you want for your child as an adult?
My son's here, he's in the 8th grade, and I have seen him blossom here. He came as an 8th grader, and I've seen doors open for him that wouldn't have opened anywhere else. New opportunities he wouldn't have experienced in other schools. Teachers that have taken the time to get to know him as a person. But this is a child that the last 2 years of middle school, I had to drag out of bed. There was an apathy, there was a, do I have to do this? And now I have a child that talks about his teachers with respect and admiration. He knows his teachers believe in him, and that has made him believe in himself. And it's amazing to watch that as a parent. So I think he likes coming here every day because this place makes him feel good about himself. I really do. What more can you ask as a mom, right?
There's this notion out in education that I've sensed that there's somehow a choice between your child being happy and having fun and your child being in an academically rigorous, challenging environment, that's a false choice. Summit embraces the notion that that's a false choice.
We cultivate in the human beings who come here a DNA for success, for meaningful work that makes a difference in the world around us, for a commitment to being part of something larger than ourselves.